All right, this is the first time we're doing this, so I don't know where it's going to stream and what it's going to do, but we're recording and I hope we're live. We're, we're back for another healing talk, Katase healing talk. And today we're going to talk about something Domano and Chea, case adopted Peruvian grandparents and teachers said. And that's the best thing that we can do for ourselves and the world is to walk a path of awakening and allow ourselves to be happy. So I'm here with our beautiful friend Laura. Hi, Laura.
Hey there.
And Kay Cadell Whitaker.
Hello.
Hi, Kay. Kay is the author of The Reluctant Shaman and Sacred Link. And today we're going to ask her, what's that look like to allow ourselves to be happy and walk a path of awakening, and why it is the best thing. All right, have fun, enjoy.
It sounds like a simple question, but it really can really get complicated as one is starting to study these ancient teachings and learn about what waking up is, and trying to follow that, trying to do all the things that we need to do in our lives to change our lifestyle, diet, way of thinking and being inside of ourselves, so that we're no longer being trapped by the modern cultural giant thought form, the programming that we get fed, shoved down our throats, really, from the time that we're born, that are totally designed to keep us asleep and living in a fog and numbed out, not really paying a whole lot of attention to everything that's around us or inside of us. We learn how to live on a kind of automatic pilot, where we have these pre-programmed behaviors and responses to all the different types of stimuli that we have in our modern culture, and we just react automatically. We're not entirely home behind the eyeballs and the heart. Oops, I hope I didn't make funny sound. Touching the little furry ball here that's on my microphone. Did that bang in your ears?
Well, not too bad, but we're getting used to a new setup. So
that's first time I get to wear my little furry thing here first time. So I try not to do that again.
I know you're on a train of thought and a space, but this is such a big subject. Do we want to try to focus on allowing ourselves to be happy and what that looks like in this crazy world? How you can do that?
In order to do that, and do that in the Katase way, and understand what that means and how to do it, you need to give just a little bit more understanding background on what the waking up is and the asleepness is, and what this being able to choose to be happy.
Okay, that makes sense.
Being able to choose to be happy. Because when we're asleep in this cultural numbed out fog, we don't really have a whole lot of choices. We gave them up. We gave that power that personal power of choice away to the culture, to the other things, other people around us, to all these things that are part of our culture that keep us asleep and keep us numbed out. We gave the power away. So it's really easy to say to somebody, well, just choose, be happy, let yourself be happy. But how do you do that when you're asleep and you're numbed out and you've got this programming with all these automatic behaviors that just push you, got the triggers and buttons get pushed and they pushes you into fear or anger or frustration, judgment, suspicion, grief, regret, guilt, whatever your whole long list of negative emotions are. That's what our culture concentrates on, and concentrates on getting us to keep thinking about them and feeling them. Because with every thought you have, the words, the thoughts, the beliefs that you have, there's a corresponding set of emotions that go with it. It's a whole package. Domano and Chea used to say it's like a two-sided coin. You got the words of the thought, linear thought on one side of the coin. On the other side of the coin is emotions. And these are two different ways of experiencing something, of perceiving it, of having whatever internal actions that go on with these different thoughts. When we're asleep, we're programmed, all of that's on automatic pilot. We gave up the choice to not be an automatic pilot in that moment. So we get the stimulus and the appropriate automatic pilot response pops up. The Hedekas used to call that a mask. It's a program. And we get it, whoop, here comes the mask, and it takes control of us and literally changes our face, the way we're holding our face and expressing our features on our face, our body language, everything. When that button gets pushed, the program's up. You are responding in a total body way, and with thoughts and words and the emotions that go with it on automatic pilot. You're not choosing in the moment. It's just, it feels like something has been flung at you, upon you. And it's like glue, and you can't get it off, and you're stuck with the feeling of it. And it could be powerlessness and having been belittled or shamed, or people doing all these crazy things that people do, especially nowadays. People end up getting in a lot of fear, a lot of anger and frustration, irritability, all the little nuances of anger and fear and powerlessness, victimization, on and on and on. And we feel trapped in it. We feel like that's who and what we are. We've been conned into believing that that's who and what we are. It's not true by a long shot. It's all make-believe. It's just a mask. It's just pretend that we've gotten stuck in this pattern in our culture. That's what the ancients and the Hedekas called being asleep. And when we're there, it's really hard to be really happy. We have little bits of pre-programmed happiness and fun, but it's not real, deep, true, heartfelt, body felt, spirit felt happiness. So what the etiquettes we're talking about, let yourself be happy. It's something that we have to make a choice for. But first we can only make the choice if we realize that we've been asleep. We've been programmed, brainwashed. We're behaving as though we're under hypnotic suggestion. And that's true. It's exactly what it is. Exactly what that is. So we have to recognize it. We have to accept it, that's real. And that's a truth that is part of our lives, a part of our existence today in this modern culture. And if you haven't learned some of these spiritual ways of dealing with these things and learning how to observe yourself and things around you and things that are happening around you that push those triggers, the program comes up, you have to learn that. It's surprising how many aspects of our lives, private, I mean, really, really private, to things that family life, interacting with others that we know real well, our family, we're familiar with them, to strangers, to all kinds of other experiences that, might happen. And you just don't know what the future's going to bring, really. All kinds of different things can happen. And when we're asleep, like I said, we're going to just go on to automatic pilot and just respond with the pre-programmed, culturally acceptable behaviors, even when they're not very good behaviors. It's what the culture has taught us to do and to be. And we identify with it. We think that that's who and what we are. And we think that that's all there is. I talked before about this metaphor, this concept of being in a little box. When we're asleep, we're in this little box. Hedeca's talked about it like it's a cardboard box, and it's big enough for you to sit down inside of in it. And there's no cracks, there's no holes, there's no openings. It's black in there, but there's a TV screen in front of you, big one, and a headset. You can hear, what's on the screen, and that's your input. That's the input that the culture has trained you to allow into your awareness and to be thinking about and feeling, feeling emotionally. Even our physical body and our physical senses have been turned down. It's like the volume has been turned way down. And so we have, we feel physical senses to a degree, but not like what it's intended for our species. When we're awake, our physical senses are just spectacular. And you're experiencing wondrous, wondrous things all around you. From, sipping your favorite beverage, eating things that you really like, or even that you don't like. They're so much stronger, so much more pronounced. And it's quite wonderful when it's something that you really, really like, because it just blossoms. All these tastes and sub-tastes, and it just sings, and it makes your emotions just go woo, woo, woo. And it's very happy, genuinely happy, beautiful, delicious. That's what we're meant to be. That's what we're meant to live like and experience from 1 minute of the day to the next. To be able to, for instance, take a look at your loved one. You haven't seen this person all day, maybe even a couple of days, for who, things happen, people go places, especially if you got teenagers, they disappear for a while. So there they are. They're right there in front of you. When you're awake, wow, it's just, ooh, it's love and it's joy and it's beauty and it's fun and an excitement. And they're there, they're here, they're with you. You can see them, you can touch them, you can smell them. If you wanted to, you could even taste them. You can feel their energy, their signature, their uniqueness. And it's all so beautiful and so fun and so delicious. And that's happy. That's the kind of happy we should be, that we're meant to be. And having the whole the operations of your whole body, your physical body, and your emotional self, your mental self, visual self, your whole being. Ooh, I think we're having some.
I don't know. Let's just.
A momentary thing. Bird flew by. Something.
Sorry.
Okay. When the Hedekas talk about happy, it's the kind of happy that you can experience when you're awake. And they talk about the best thing that you can do for the world is to walk this path, waking up this path.
Okay, we having too many tech problems, like something, okay?
Okay, on.
Be right back.
Apparently we're still streaming.
Yeah.
And he's got a tinker. We can just hold that thought of happy. What's happy? Programmed asleep happy? Awake? Fully experiencing delicious happy? It's a good moment to ponder what that is.
Okay, I can't see anything, so I don't know.
Well, I hope everybody could hear what I was saying.
Yeah.
Was the words coming across nicely? I know I look like a puzzle falling apart on the screen.
Okay. Let's continue.
All right. So we were talking about the difference between these two ideas of happiness. The happiness that the culture tells you is happy and allows you to be an experience, and it's seriously diminished. It's like a poor reflection of what real happiness is. And we get so habituated and addicted to these automatic responses, especially the negative ones. And they're reinforced. The culture reinforces all these negative responses and negative emotions that you keep feeling all the time. The judging yourself, judging others, being in fear, easily just snapping, boom, you're in fear. Anger, same thing. The slightest little trigger, boom, you're feeling all sorts of levels and types of anger. And we think that that's who we are and what we are. And we don't have any real choice. We're stuck with this. And people believe that. And it's not true. The truth of the ancient teachings, and the ancient teachings from these indigenous peoples all over the planet There's so many cultures who kept these pieces alive. That is programmed living. That's a lie. There's nothing true about any of it. It's like a sickness that swallows us up, swallows up our spiritualness and our mind and our emotions and our physical body. And we don't see any way out of it in the box. And when we're there in the box, there's no light coming in. You're only getting information from that screen and the headset. You believe whatever is fed to you. Whatever pieces of information or experience that's fed to you, you believe it. And with dogmatic fervor. So, of course, people think that there's nothing else, there's nothing beyond it, there couldn't be anything better, that they believe that they already feel happy. They're happy, they have happy things, but it's just a whisper of what the real thing is. It's a poor echo, a reflection of what real awakeness is and real happiness is. So that's why the Hedekas say, walk that path of waking up. Find out how you are asleep. How's the mechanism working inside you? And watch it. When you start to watch it and notice that it's there and things are triggering you and the lie pops up and the automatic programming pops up and tries to run you, you notice it for what it is when you pay attention. That's the first steps of waking up. And the more we do it, the better we get at it, the easier it gets. And the more we just keep waking up. And pretty soon we're out of that box and we're not tied to that TV screen or the headset. We don't have that input anymore. We're not being forced in that cultural way to participate in that. We can start to look inside of ourselves and feel, experience who and what we really are from the inside out. That's what the Hedekas call our song, our beingness, our unique individual piece of creator that we are, including our physical body is part of that too. So as we're waking up, we start experiencing more and more of the real world, the real us, real aliveness, real happiness. And these are choices that we make. Choosing to be happy, letting ourselves be happy. This is all choice. And that's where our power is. Power is in our attention and what we're focusing on. And when we're asleep, we gave the power away. We gave our attention away. We gave our focusing away, our choices away. We just gave it all away. But we can take it back. And it's a lot easier than you think. Sometimes it does feel challenging. People ask this question, certainly in the beginning of their studies and their first steps on this path of waking up. Everybody asks this question. How do you do it? How do you walk this path of waking up? And how do you let yourself be happy? Well, it's the choice. You choose with one choice at a time, one issue at a time, one question at a time. You choose to focus on what you want to focus on and when you want to focus on it. And in the beginning, the first things you're going to focus on is noticing the programming from the culture and how asleep it has made you, how asleep it has made everybody around you. Sometimes it's a little easier to notice just how incredibly brainwashed and asleep all those people are. Millions, billions of people. Very, very asleep. But that's changing. People are starting to wake up. And it's one step at a time. Like anything worth doing in your life. One careful step at a time. One choice with every step at a time. And that's what it means, and that's how you do it. So, you two wondrous people, what say you?
Beautiful, King. Thank you again.
Sorry about that. What say us? You want me to go first, Helmut, or you want to go first?
You go ahead, Laura.
Well, I have to say my happiness definitely has grown. And I think it's because, you know, when you learn what your song is and you start to explore it, it like gives you a baseline of partly, I mean, you're learning about new things about who you are, and there's some excitement there, but also you're enjoying that non-judgment of yourself and the expansiveness and love for yourself and worthiness of yourself, and that becomes like a baseline. And so when you go out into your day, it's really easy to start picking out where like your body gets tight, or you're talking, you're like your voice gets higher, or you're breathing a little bit different, your heart's down. You start noticing when you're not in song, when you're not in your happiness. But I've noticed that I don't take time as frivolously as I used to. I mean, I have more consciousness and more awareness towards what I want, and I expand that. So when I do notice something that comes into my awareness, I can choose. You can choose once you realize that you're having a masked moment. You can choose not to be that way anymore. And I don't know, I am happier than I have ever been. And I think it's because I first of all know who my song, and then I'm getting all these other experiences where I get to choose. And that aliveness that's around me, I'm more in tune to it. Oh, yeah, it's all about being able to make a choice. If you don't know, you can make a choice. Why? It's great. Then you're asleep. You get stuck.
Thank you.
Your
Beautiful.
computer is just overworks you.
That could be.
You have too many windows. Yep. I close something.
Did you get everything I said? A lot going on in my house right now.
Yes, everybody. Whoops.
Mm. Okay, I think we're back. Sorry about that. Kay always does that. She has like 2 dozen windows open on a browser, and then the computer is like, oh,
Uh-oh.
you're good.
No. Take a look. I don't know what happened.
That's a fun session today.
Surprises.
Thank you both for sharing. Okay, beautiful. Laura, thank you. Beautiful.
Oops, I need to put this back in. Obviously, I'm not the tech person in the house. I love what you talked about, Laura, what you said, and the bass line. And that's it's a really big piece of the picture, of the puzzle. This becoming more and more familiar with who and what you really are, what your song is, and exploring it. And then when you start to try to unplug yourself from all the cultural dictates and your addiction to them and all that stuff, Domano used to say that your song, knowing yourself, is the torchlight that lights your path and keeps it lit and smooth and operational. You can stepping forward in this awakening instead of falling off the path and back.
I definitely know when I'm
Yeah.
Words are like
on my song. You keep stopping and going, Kay.
I think we need
see me move.
okay, we're gonna need to
uh,
let's try.
oh, okay. Went black for a minute.
It's still very weak, so we need to repeat this talk, I think.
Well, we could do that.
We come back some other time.
Yeah.
You want to add something?
No, I think I said it. I just really like the kind of description and the words that you use, Laura. They put another whole kind of perspective into those parts of the teachings. It's very nice. It's very beautiful. So, Helmut.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
I think the one thing I can add for sure is looking where I am today with being happy and living a happy life. It's like night and day from where I came from. I was into drugs and alcohol, really angry, not happy. And when I met my friend, a native, after I stopped drinking, at one time he looked at me and said, "Yeah, you stopped drinking, but you're still acting like a drunk." And at the time it was like, wow, what's he mean by that? But the years following, I really learned what that looks like and changed all of that. Knowing happiness is such a gift. It changes everything. And not just pretend happy, but really, truly deep in your heart, just being happy about life. So that's my piece.
I think that real happiness, part of it is that being more awake, you're able to perceive and experience the actual aliveness of everything, yourself, your spirit, your song, the life of everything else around you, trees and the plants and the animals. We've been thinking all along that those are alive, but the more inanimate things that modern culture denies any kind of life or consciousness to, like the rocks and the dirt and the air and the water, the weather patterns, the clouds up there in the sky. They're all alive and they're all conscious. And the more you wake up, the more you are perceiving, you're experiencing their aliveness and their consciousness, their uniqueness, their beauty, and how they interact with everything, and they interact with you, and you're interacting with everything. And it is so delicious. It's just exquisite. And that is, all those experiences are definitely something that fits under the category of happy. Just really deeply, deeply happy. And I think all of us, and the students, we've had a fair number of students through the years. The changes in their internal freedom. They're genuinely free inside themselves. They're free of the programming and the automatic pilot responses. And it's genuine. And you experience it with everything and everything around you and everything that's happening. And there's so much fun in that, and beauty and love and happiness. It's happy. The Hedekas use the word happy and happiness a lot. And it wasn't because they didn't know some of the other words that could be used in its place, but it's so accurate. And they cared about accuracy in communication a lot. It was very important. So, anybody with more thoughts?
Well, what I was just going through and feeling into is that the more you increase your ability to be truly happy, there's a level of appreciation that comes with it of everything, yourself, others in your life, everything else around you that's alive. And the connectedness has a different intensity and flavor. That's just beautiful and so much more enjoyable. I mean, you savor all of it on a different level. That's my kind of play.
I kind of play too.
Even as you're interacting with, oh, hang on. For some reason, my screen has been just sliding down into darkness. It's just, I have to push the thing back up. Poor thing. It's a little hot. It's hot out. It's really hot out here. So.
As long as it doesn't explode.
Yeah, that would be good.
Okay.
I have no idea what I was saying in the before I got interrupted with the black screen.
How fun new setup. We'll figure it out. We were talking about the savoring.
Yeah.
Hi, butterfly.
Even when we're in the middle of interacting with people who are still very asleep, and they seem to be, okay with that. They're not in any hurry to change any of it. They're doing asleep behaviors, and your response, your perception, your experience of them is, well, they're obviously asleep, and it's kind of predictable, their behaviors and all that, and it's all okay. It's okay. That's just who and what they are at the moment, and that's okay. It's just part of the bigger picture of humanity. But some of the things they do or say when you were asleep would probably really push triggers. Could be really rude, or they could be really silly or crazy, stupid, mean, all that stuff people do, on purpose or not. But when the more awake that you are, the more you're feeling and knowing your own song, you're identifying with your song, the more there is this happiness, and you can't help but to still be happy with them, to appreciate them, to love them for who and what they are, their asleepness and all, everything, just as they are. It's they just aren't threatening anymore. They're not offensive anymore. Even if they're purposefully trying to be offensive, it just doesn't knock on your door because you see the bigger picture of it. You see the truth of it. And there's another another side of the happiness.
Any other thoughts?
I always put it this way. So now that I live Katasi, people don't have to say, do, or be a certain way for me to choose to be happy. And I love myself. And I mean, that's my baseline. You know, that's where I go off. I just keep coming to it. And if I find myself off, I just keep coming back to the baseline. Keep coming back. And I noticed that I at first, when I first started learning, I kind of thought of myself as like one of those bugs that light up and off and on and off. And like, I'm awake, I'm not. I'm awake, I'm not. I mean, I've even looked at it as like, have you ever gone to have like ice cream or something and you get back and someone asks you, well, how was it? Well, I don't know. I wasn't really there. I wasn't present. And I mean, that's kind of like driving home. Like you drove home and I don't remember any of it. I mean, when I first started. But now, because I'm conscious and more aware of everything, I'm more present. And so, I mean, so there is a difference between being awake and asleep. And I mean, literally awake and asleep, because you're not really perceiving everything that's around you versus, you're aware. And so in a sense, then you can choose happiness, because otherwise, if you're totally unaware and totally in that groove of our society and your reactions are just automatic, you're just not aware. You're not there. You're not awake. And if you're not awake in some form, it's hard to choose happiness. Yeah.
Mm.
I love Katasi. It's changed my life in a good way. I mean, there's a lot of things one could choose to be unhappy about in one's life. And then that's the experience you're going to have. But what Katasi teaches is that you have a choice. How powerful is that?
Not just that you have a choice, but you get the tools to be able to make them.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
Okay,
Oh,
we want to leave it at that.
I love your words, Laura.
No.
Yeah, you hit another real important aspect of you're not dependent on what other people think of you, or whether they like you or approve of you or accept you or all that stuff. It just doesn't have the grip, and
No.
that's part of the programming, that grip that really helps police people from the inside out. Beautiful.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you, Kate.
everybody for watching.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you, Helmut.
And we do more of those. Hopefully I'm sure we're going to get more adapt with the new tech. And less hiccups. All right. Thank you. Love you. See you next
Thank
time.
you all. Thank you all. Love you.
Love you.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.